Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our sacred community, Thursdays with Thryn, connecting with your divinity within. I'm so honored to be together tonight. Thank you so much for taking time for yourself and taking time to join in our sacred community. And welcome to Divinity Within's YouTube channel. The handle for YouTube is Divinity Within Connection. And as I am saving these Facebook Live events, they will be housed on YouTube so that if there's ever a topic that you'd like to go back and sit with again, you'll be able to find it on the YouTube channel. And I'll drop that link in the comments below a little bit later. So, how is everyone tonight? I would love to hear from you in the comments. Feel free to say hello. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how what we talk about tonight feels for you, what resonates. I'd love to hear any feedback that you have to share. So, Monday we had the autumn equinox. So, today we're still in this energy of the equinox, and I feel like it's a perfect moment to just sit with that balance, that moment where the amount of daylight and nighttime were perfectly equal on Monday. And we're going to invite ourselves and one another to explore balance in our own lives. Not the rigid, forceful kind, but very gentle and flowing dance that honors all parts of who we are. So, as we come together around this topic of balance, let's begin by taking a deep breath together to enter into our sacred container that is set so that only the highest levels of unconditional love, clarity, wisdom, truth are here with us together. And anything that is not meant for us is transmuted by the violet flame and may not enter. So as we take a breath, let's imagine a tree swaying in the breeze, not fighting the wind, but moving with it while staying rooted in the earth. That's the kind of balance we're exploring today. Not perfection, but responsiveness, not control, but flow. So this is truly sacred self-care, being intentional with your life force. So before we dive into the many different areas of life that we'd like to look at tonight, let's take a moment to pause and acknowledge something that many of us are carrying: the weight of too much, too many commitments, too many goals, too many apps on our phones, too many notifications, too many tabs open on the laptop and in our minds. It doesn't take long for these things to add up. They're coming from everywhere. And here's what we don't often realize: that true self-care isn't just bubble baths and a warm cup of tea. Those are wonderful. But self-care is the profound, sacred act of protecting our energy, being intentional about where we direct our life force. When we're constantly juggling, we're often operating from a place of depletion rather than abundance, which it really makes balance almost impossible if you're trying to keep everything up in the air. You're constantly out of balance, trying to catch that next thing that's going to drop. Now, there's hidden costs to over juggling. I mean, we have to do it sometimes. I understand. There are a lot of people that rely on us. But just this is a gentle conversation to just recognize that when we're juggling so much, our energy becomes scattered rather than focused. We live in a constant state of partial attention. I'm just as guilty. I have one thing going on, a book that's open, and then my phone that comes into the picture. Like, what am I doing right now? Focus. We mistake being busy for being purposeful, and then we lose touch with what actually matters most to us. And as we all know, we can't pour from an empty cup. And when that cup is putting a little bit of your essence in so many things, it seems like it's got a hole in the bottom, right? More of a colander than a cup. But we can fix that. We can take care of our energy and guard our energy. And sometimes the gentle truth of it is the most balanced thing that we can do is to consciously choose to do less. Recognize that we don't have to juggle everything. It's sacred self care to be intentional about where our energy flows and to not overburden ourselves before we can even try to focus on balance. So, what if we gave ourselves permission to just have a big exhale first? You want to do that together? Let's take a breath in. And let it all out. We stop to breathe. We may recognize that we're already carrying more than we need to. It's kind of like clearing up clutter to see what you're actually working with. You know, yesterday I took a look at my kitchen table and I was like, the number of things that I am currently working on right now, I need to take stock of what I've got going on here and come home to what truly matters, what is important for my energy to go to today, because it's not everything on this table. Do that with any area of your life. And we're about to go through some examples, so you don't have to try to figure it all out. Let's just talk through some different things. And again, if there's anything that you'd like to talk about specifically, I'd love to see your comments. All topics welcome. So, of course, one of the most important areas to talk or to consider balance in is our physical body. It's your sacred vessel. And sometimes we might take it for granted, the relationship with our physical self. And balance here, you're not going to hear me say is just exercise and nutrition. No, it's a lot more than that. Those are important. But when did you last check in with your body's natural rhythms? How you're breathing, how your senses are interacting with life. Are you honoring the need for movement and rest? Sometimes we're always pushing forward, and then sometimes we settle in and we don't honor the balance of both movement and rest. So moving your body in ways that feel joyful, not punishing, that gentle walk outside at a pace that feels good to you so that you can take your time and look at all of nature around you. Are the days when you feel it's time to settle in because your body needs rest? Allowing yourself to rest without guilt on those days that your energy feels a little bit like a lower tick. It's okay. Eating foods that nourish rather than just fuel or comfort. Getting plenty of fresh water. Not living only on caffeine and sugary beverages. And paying attention to your body's subtle signals before they become loud demands like On those days that you just don't have the energy, like your body could be working to overcome something that will not get bigger and become very painful and take you out of your daily routine if you just let it rest that one day, you know? So here's your gentle question regarding your physical body. Just consider, what is your body whispering to you that you haven't been able to hear or you haven't listened to? This, your mental landscape, is another wonderful place to look at balance, the garden of your mind, because our minds are like gardens. There's beautiful things growing there. Gardens need cultivation and periods of rest. Not as many plants are growing in the autumn and the winter that are arriving now. You know, the the balance between the busy mind and the still mind. And balance often lives in the space in between those thoughts. And lots of us, we're constantly consuming information, solving problems, planning, or sometimes we go in the opposite direction and just like, that is too much, I cannot right now, like avoiding them altogether for extended periods of time. Anytime you need rest, it's always helpful to take a little brain break and come back to it fresh. But sometimes we get into periods where we push those mental challenges away for long times. So a balanced mental wellness could be engaging your mind with meaningful challenges, whatever's meaningful for you, instead of trying to figure out the world for everybody else. Creating space for daydreaming, mental rest, practicing discernment about what information you consume. The TV and the music that we are watching and listening to, we're consuming that. What are they talking about? Is that where you want your mind to go? Is that the energy that you want to take in? Just practice your discernment there. Balancing analytical thinking and intuitive knowing. When we're faced with decisions, a lot of times we just want to sort out all the logical items. And sometimes it's nice to just sit with your heart and ask yourself, what do I really desire here? And then allow the way for that to happen, to unfold. And making time for both learning and unlearning. Meaning, even if it's something you've done forever, if it just doesn't feel true for you anymore, it's okay to sit with that. It's okay to follow that path and wonder and ponder and decide what's true for you now. You get to choose. You get to choose over and over and over again what's going on in your own mind. So the thought around your mental landscape to consider, are you feeding your mind too much, too little, or perhaps things that are no longer aligned at all? And again, the answers to these questions is only up to you. Only you need to know. Or if you'd like to talk about it in the comments, that's fantastic. But these are introspective things. We're moving into an introspective time of year. We're gathering our harvest. Speaking of, let's talk about emotional weather. Feeling the full spectrum. Because here's where a lot of our blind spots live. We were often taught that some emotions are good and some emotions are bad, leading us to create this imbalance of over identifying with all the good things and suppressing all the bad things. But that's just really not the case. All emotions have teachings and learnings, and being able to sit with however you're feeling and just acknowledging, I feel this way right now, and it is safe to feel this way because I am a human and we all have all of these emotions. That's a first step that's amazing. And so I have a gentle invitation for you. Emotional balance isn't about feeling happy all the time. It's about creating the space for the full range of human feelings and not getting stuck in any one emotional state. So, what does this look like? How do you do this? Allow yourself to feel. Maybe you're having a day that feels sorrowful. Allow yourself to feel that grief without drowning in it. Just again, simply acknowledging, wow, I feel a bit sad today. And then maybe one of your self care practices pops in your mind. I feel like I'd like to go for a walk. And that will help move that energy. Or experiencing joy without guilt or fear that it won't last. Have you ever had those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, things are going so great? And then your brain goes, don't count on it sticking around. Let yourself have that joyful moment. Let yourself bask in the magic and miracles all around you, especially on those days that you can feel it and you can see them clearly. Enjoy that. You deserve it. Absolutely. Yes, thank you. And then on another end of the spectrum, sitting with anger. Sometimes things are just frustrating. And it's okay to be sideways about it for a minute. That did not go the way I anticipated, or whatever is the spark that brings up that emotion. It's perfectly healthy. You know what I like to do when I'm feeling a little angry? That's when I go prune my garden. That feels really good to pull up weeds when you're in that kind of mood, right? It helps. You're touching Mother Earth and playing in the dirt, and you're getting rid of the things of your life that you don't want there. And it helps you to not be consumed. And embracing vulnerability without losing your boundaries. Just because you open up to people and you show your true self, that doesn't mean they can walk all over you. You can be vulnerable and still stand strong in your power. It is possible. Yes, dirt therapy, one of my favorite ones. And so, if you'd like to ponder on the emotional weather aspect, think about which emotions do you welcome easily? Joy, whatever emotion that you're like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And then which ones do you try to avoid? And what would it feel like to be equally curious about them all? It's been a little while back, but I was in a period of grief. And I was resisting it a little bit. I wasn't allowing myself to really feel it. And when I sat to meditate with the intention of improving my mood, grief came to me in like a persona type of way. I personify a lot of things anyway, but so grief came to me and she said, just as you enjoy your joyful moments, the moments when the rainbow appears. Grief as an emotion is just as important as joy to acknowledge and to be with. And she said to me directly, "Why won't you give me the time that you give joy? I'm already within you. Why do you ignore me?" Cue the tears. On that day and now too, remembering that to share with y'all now. What would it feel like to be equally curious about any emotion that arises in the moment? The good news is, when you acknowledge these emotions, even the ones that are challenging, would you really allow your focus to go to them and give them love? Thank you, grief. I acknowledge your presence within me now. We are safe, and it is okay to grieve something that I love that I lost. That is completely human and okay. The emotion dissipates. It can move quite quickly. You can trust that it will not stay long when it's been acknowledged. Isn't that great news? Let's talk about relationships, pardon me. Our web of connection. Balance in relationships often means honoring both your need for connection and your autonomy. It's about being generous without depleting yourself and receiving without guilt. So, like balancing the time that you spend with others and time alone to as much as possible. I understand there's a lot of family dynamics where you have to literally carve out your alone time to get it. Do that for yourself. Give support, and asking for help is balance. Speaking your truth and truly listening is balance. And when you're in partnership, being able to maintain your own individual identity and identify as having a partner, that's balance. Nurturing old friendships while being open to new ones. And so when you think about relationships, the question that you can ask yourself here is, are you more comfortable as the giver or the receiver? What would it feel like to practice the opposite role than what you're most comfortable with? Give that one a try if you want to. And creative expression. We can't forget this part of our life. Your unique voice in the world. It is an area where many of us have unconsciously created imbalance. The relationship with our own creative expression. Somewhere along the way, we learn to dim our uniqueness to fit in rather than stand out, to be practical rather than imaginative. Or sometimes we swing between the two extremes, completely suppressing, I haven't done anything artistic or creative in forever, or diving all the way into our creative impulses, you know, with so much pressure for them to turn out perfect. Like, I've got this great idea, I can't wait to create it. And then being really hard on yourself, taking away the joy of it, adding stress to it. So your creativity is not impractical. It's important. Expressing yourself authentically. Create for the pure joy of what it brings you to actually do it. You know, cooking, singing, art. There's a million ways. How you dress, the way you set up your house, the way you do your garden. There's so many ways to creatively express yourself. And some of it includes sharing your gifts with others. So making time for creative play alongside other more structured work and embracing your uniqueness and your unconventional ideas rather than going, oh, nobody's going to want to do that. You don't know. There's a lot of us that are up for trying some new things out. So your creativity is not separate from who you are. It is who you are when you're expressing yourself. So where have you been playing it safe instead of honoring what wants to be created through you, through your hands? What have you had any creative impulses that you dismissed as silly or, oh, that's not important? How might your life change if you saw creativity not as a luxury, but as essential nourishment for your soul? Try that on. As your spiritual connection, whether you call it God, creator, universe, nature, the mystery of existence, spiritual balance involves remaining present and grounded in this moment while reaching for a deeper relationship with God or your higher self, the universe, creator, whatever you call it. Yes. It can look like seeking answers and embracing mystery, having faith and questioning deeply, connecting with something greater than you yourself while honoring your individual path and finding the sacred in both the extraordinary and the seemingly mundane. So how do you nurture your connection to what feels most sacred to you? Allowing balance there is so helpful. And of course, time and energy, the currency of life, right? It's not just about time management, it's about energy alignment. Just consider, are you investing your energy and your focus in what truly matters to you? Do you balance being present now with the planning for the future? Do you honor your need for routine and your need for spontaneity? Do you create space for both doing and just being? And then the most beautiful balance is, yes, we are a work in progress. And yes, I'm so glad I see agreement that creativity is essential for our souls. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so glad we are on the same vibration frequency, family. The dance between accepting yourself exactly where you are while remaining open to who you're becoming. Holding both of those with honor right now. You can love yourself completely as you are right this minute and desire to grow. They can coexist, they're not different. Accept your current circumstances and work towards change. Be grateful for what is and embrace your vision of what could be. So as we close, remember that balance isn't a destination, it is always ongoing. So just a daily check-in with yourself, a gentle adjustment as life seasons change. So pick one of the areas we explored today that felt either really juicy, really fun, or uncomfortable. Not to fix it, Just get curious about it. Listen more deeply to your heart. What wants to emerge about this topic? It's not perfect balance as a goal, it's a conscious balance. Showing up at the dance of life with awareness and gentleness, compassion, and the willingness to keep adjusting things because life is continuously changing. So if you want, take a moment, think of one small way you'd like to explore balance this week, not a commitment, just a gentle intention. Just when we set these intentions, God, the universe, our spirit team, they bring us opportunities to practice. So just pick what feels good, what you want to sit with, and trust that even the smallest adjustments can create the most profound shifts. You are already whole, you are already enough, and you are always becoming. Until next Thursday, may you find your rhythm in life's beautiful, messy, sacred dance. And I'm happy to continue to chat if anyone would like to drop anything in the comments or have anything else they'd like to share. Thank you for your kind words. I'm so glad that everything resonates with you. Yes, great. That's great balance. Cookie and salad. Cookie plus salad. That is perfect balance, in my opinion. Great idea, Jean-Ann. I love it. How does it feel to allow yourself the grace to find some balance in the most joyful ways? So much love to you all. Thank you again for joining live and being engaging and chatting in the comments. I love you all so much. And hello, Joe. Much love to all of you. Have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you next Thursday. I love you.